Did you see what's going on between Matt Taibbi and Musk?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, when the Twitter files came out and it revealed that basically 90+% of Twitter was voting Democrat, I think it was 97%, basically how much suppression there was, the New York Post stories, all this, Matt Taibbi was sort of lauded as a hero, right? But now there's actually revealing the exact opposite. Matt Taibbi, who basically is a Substack writer, he's sort of garnered a lot of praise as being a free speech absolutist, especially during the Twitter files, quote unquote, Twitter files journalist Matt Taibbi, quote unquote, Musk proved to be very disappointing on free speech issue. Now, this is someone that basically, Musk was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for his contribution to free speech and to Earth. And then here's Matt Taibbi's quote. I do believe that Elon Musk proved to be very disappointing on the free speech issue, which is sort of shocking.
Yeah.
During appearance on our friend News Nation's Cuomo's podcast. All of us who worked on the Twitter files felt the same way. We went in feeling tremendously optimistic that he actually meant a lot of the things he said about being in favor of all legal speech and being free speech absolutist and all those other things. However, that proved not to be the case. He is currently disenfranchising thousands of Substack writers, including me, and no one seems to care in the press. This is what Matt Taibbi
What does he mean by that?
Chris Cuomo.
What does he mean by doing the disenfranchising? What does he mean by that? What are they doing? Be specific.
Yeah, this is what I want to know. I'm reading the headlines here, but I want to know why he went from being so optimistic to being so
Let's see what it says right there. So, on the other hand, it's an interview with Elon when I was on Censorship speech. He was asking more hate speech, which is legal in the United States. And the question, why aren't you doing more to moderate? Oh, this is the Don Lemon interview?
Don Lemon interview.
Oh, I watched this whole thing yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a chance to watch the whole thing?
I was going to ask you, do you think this is a concern?
Did you watch it, Tom?
I watched every clip.
I have not watched the whole interview. I saw clips.
I want to ask you, since you saw the whole thing, you didn't watch
I watched the whole thing every second. Yeah.
Do you think this entire ruse of all this Don Lemon situation, from him going to X, from him asking for all that stuff to interviewing, was it all a plan and then go to CNN and interview? Was it all a plan from Don Lemon? And who would you say wrote? Elon said that he wrote all of this.
Jeff Zucker. Jeff Zucker wrote the question.
I personally think he was a plan, and this was all set up to try to expose Elon. What you saw it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I wrote notes if you want me to kind of go through a couple things.
I was interested to see what you were going to
say. Musk and him are going back and forth. At the beginning, it was a little bit easier when the interview started, but you can tell from Musk's face, something you know how sometimes you watch a podcast or you watch a show, but you don't know what happened 30 minutes prior to the podcast, right? You're kind of like, something happened, okay? You watch me do a video and you're like, why does Pat seem like this right before? You watch Joe, you're like, oh, something happened with Joe. These are human beings. They're going through something. So something happened with Musk walking into that meeting. Maybe they had made an offer and then Lemon right before. I remember one time one of my guys, Jennifer and I have a dinner with this one of our guys. 5 minutes before our dinner, he sends the most ridiculous email, and then a minute after his email, anyway, so we get this email. And I'm reading this email right before we go to dinner. And I go to dinner, I said, what, you set up this dinner? Yes. Why are you acting like we're all good, but you just emailed me something like that? I said, no. That was a 10-page email.
Holy crap.
So what was this all about? That was a Don Lemon moment. Yeah. In that moment, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're playing games here? You think like this is like an act? Like, we're trying to build a company here. So Musk probably had something happen right before. Maybe the offer was made to Musk right before they sat down. Yeah. And he's sitting there saying, you're asking me for a private jet? You're asking me for a day of massages and alcohol for you and your boyfriend? And you're asking me for $5 million of Tesla share or what? X share?
And a super customized
Cybertruck. Yeah. Exactly. You're kind of like, what is this guy talking about? Anyways, let me read some of the stuff for you. So he says, Elon says, Twitter was a left-leaning company before I bought it. And then Don Lemon says, how do you figure? What makes you think it was a left-leaning company? And Elon's like, what do you mean? Everybody knew. He says, wait, I don't understand why you would think Twitter was left-leaning before you bought it. Elon says, do you realize 99%, he says 99% of the money from Twitter went to the Democratic Party. Don Lemon says, but that's the company. He says, no, it's the employees.
Yeah.
And then Don Lemon says, well, let me ask you a different question. So he got away from that. So there, Elon, check with that one. Will you announce who you vote for? He says, are you going to give money to Trump? And he's trying to kind of get that. Okay, fine. You're pushing for some information there. No problem. He says, I will announce who I vote for. I can tell you I'm leaning away from Biden, okay? Yeah. But I will announce who I'm voting for and why. I will explain it. So Elon Musk is saying this. So probably closer to the end of the year, he's going to explain to election time. And then he says, Tesla, any new updates with Tesla? Specifically, what's his name? Don Lemon says, after the stock's been doing so bad the last 6 months. And then Elon says, well, whenever you look at company stocks, never judge it based on the stock. The job is to improve the company and He says, okay. So what are you doing? He says, we're about to do something. He says, the Cybertruck is a project that we've been working on for 10 years. He says, it's very hard to have a project like that. That's a once-in-a-decade type of a thing, and it's a very big deal for what we built with Cybertruck. But he says, we have something coming up that has never existed before. And then Don Lemon says, great question he asked, he says, flying car? He says, maybe. Yeah. He said, it was a very interesting moment. And then he says, something that's never existed before. He said, will there be a steering wheel? He says, not a steering wheel, but there's going to be something to it, right? And then he says, you have a lot of lawsuits. How do you relax? Now, obviously, you're asking an annoying question when you're saying you have a lot of lawsuits. How do you relax? But he's going, so you're wondering, maybe this is a nice question he's asking. Yeah. So how do you cope with it? What do you do? And he says, is that why you take so many drugs? Yeah. What a thing to, you're thinking you're going to a place. That's
gotcha,
and then he says, why do you stay up so late at night? When you tweet a lot of these things, late nights, are you drunk when you're tweeting?
Yeah. He goes, I don't drink.
Are you using drunks? He says, no, I don't drink that much. He says, the drugs that you use, do you, flirt or participate with a lot of drugs? And then anyways, he's saying what he's saying. Then Don brought up the replacement theory and tied it to Jews. And then he's like, wait, tied to Jews? No. The 10 million people that are coming here, they're going to vote Democrat. He says, how do you know? He says, what do you mean, how do I know? He's asking questions as if, he says, that's what they're going to vote for. He said, but how do you know they're going to vote for that? What makes you think they're going to vote for the left? And then he says, well, we're both, what do you call it, freedom of speech. He said, but why do you let these people say what they're saying? And he shows these pictures. And then Elon says, yeah, we allow those things to exist and we let people to talk. He says, but you said you're for, minimizing hate speech. He says, no. You used the word beautiful line. Maybe the best line Elon used in the entire show was this. Moderation is a propaganda for censorship.
Wow.
He says, you want censorship. I want freedom of speech. Don Lemon says, no, I don't. He says, yeah, you do. You want censorship. Rob, if you can find that clip, it's a beautiful clip. If you just type in moderation is a propaganda, you just type it on X and you'll find it. Moderation propaganda, it comes up as right there. Just play this beautiful clip. How long is it? Oh, shit, it's 6 minutes and 54. Is it 54 seconds or 6 minutes and 54 seconds? 6
minutes and 54.
Yeah, we don't want to do that because then we're going to have to. Well, let me see where it starts from because if it's the right place, it's a beautiful, beautiful clip. Let's just try it one more time, Rob. Press the square in the middle. Press the square in the middle. Doesn't let you? No? See if you can make it work. It's okay. Anyways.
Digital chastity belt. Do you think that you believe that X and you have some responsibility to moderate hate speech on the platform?
I think we have a responsibility to adhere to the law, and we have a responsibility to be transparent about when things are shown, why they're shown. That's why we open source our algorithm. I think once you start going beyond the law, now you're putting your thumb on the scale. And we don't want to put our thumb on the scale.
It doesn't concern you that hate speech has gone. Research shows that it's gone up on the platform since you took over. That's not concerning to you?
I believe that is false. In fact, the research that I've seen says it went down.
Fake news.
The study from the Institute of Strategic Dialogue found that anti-Semitic tweets doubled from June 22 to February 2023. One study reported that as many as 86% of the posts reported for hateful content remained up after being reported. Hate speech.
Just a study.
On the platform.
All I have to say is it's a study.
Is up.
So what they will typically do is they will count the number of posts, but not count the number of views. So what matters is, was that post given high visibility, or did like one person see it? And if you look at the number of views of how many times was hate content viewed on our platform, it is down substantially.
Yeah. Well, that's not was what the
Don
study
is
shows.
such
You said
a-
you like transparency. I'm
Dude,
going to show
Don
you
is
this.
such a
and-
prick,
You can
bro.
get
I
a study
hate
that
that
will
guy.
tell you whatever you want.
But these are just a handful of extremely. If you look at those anti-Semitic and racist tropes and tweets, and as of this morning, they're still on X. And from your own content policy, these posts should have been deleted. So why haven't they been deleted? Why are they still there? Did you?
We delete things if they are illegal.
Good job.
These have been up there for a while.
Are they illegal?
They're not illegal, but
Yeah, shut
they're
up.
hateful, and they
fast
can,
forward
they
10
can lead
seconds
to
at a time to see if we
violent,
can get to it.
radicalizing.
So Don,
Keep
you're
going.
obsessed with censorship.
But don't
There,
you think
right,
there's
go
a-
back.
Censorship moderation is a propaganda word for
Boom.
censorship.
Bingo.
Boom.
Don't you think free
Well, let it go and
speech
watch
is
what he
one
does.
thing, right? Or not,
Look, if
not
something's
censorship.
illegal, we're going to take it down. If it's not illegal, then we're putting our thumb on the scale and we're being censors.
God, I love him.
You're putting your thumb on the scale for moderating hate speech. I mean, you don't put out child pornography. That's not.
It's illegal.
That's illegal.
Some people
What
say
a
that's
what an
considered censorship.
idiot.
I'm just saying.
No, I literally, Don, I literally said, if something is legal,
Okay, you can pause it at this
No
point.
wonder why they fired
By the
him.
way, it continues, and then Elon says, "You desperately want censorship, and I don't." And then he talks about blacks at Tesla, and he brings up racism, and Elon says the most important thing there. He says, "Just so you know, our entire families at one point were slaves, yours and mine." Well, yeah, I know. So no. Just so you know, everybody's family at some point
We're slaves.
were slaves.
Yeah.
Period. And he didn't know how to answer that. And he changed the subject there as well. And then the ending of it, which gets very, very uncomfortable. Rob, if you can go to the interview, go to his tweet, Don Lemon's tweet, and go to an hour, 3 minutes. If you can go to his hour and 3 minutes, go to hour and 3 minutes. It's pretty much all the way at the end. And this is when you start seeing him like he is just done. And he's saying, look, man, we only got a few more seconds, a few more minutes here. Hour 3:25. Go to 1 hour 3:25 so we can save that additional 25 seconds. There you go. Play from right here. Watch
Oh,
this.
Good job, Rob.
and I feel very optimistic about the future of the X platform.
Okay. Listen, I'm honestly, I'm not meaning to offend you. You're an intense person. Where does that intensity come from?
Look at this.
I was born that way. And I had a tough childhood.
You did.
So, yeah.
How so?
Come on.
Like Walter Isaacson goes
You can
into it
tell.
in the book, and we only have a couple minutes left, so
All right.
too long to describe. So the one or two questions I can do, and then we'll have to call it.
Right. Okay. Again, I don't mean to upset you. Why are you?
Yes, you did.
just.
Such a prick, dude.
No, I have a whole room
Pretentious.
full of people waiting to meet with me.
I have a whole room
Okay.
So we're
full
just
of
going over
people
time.
waiting for me.
Okay. All right. I understand that.
He's turning red.
When you talk about, you said you were born that way. Is that?
It's just uncomfortable.
Did you think that the way that you see the world has to do with your relationship with anyone, perhaps your father or someone in your family?
Look,
He just told you, go read the book.
I think we're all affected by the people we grow up with. My aspiration is to
This is beautiful. Listen.
do whatever it
Beautiful.
takes to extend consciousness into the future.
Beautiful.
That's my goal. To make life multiplanetary as part of extending consciousness into the future.
Have the past few years, and considering everything that's gone on, has it been difficult for you and your family life?
It's been okay.
So then, how do you see your legacy, Elon?
He doesn't give a shit.
How do you see how
Well,
people
let's
see you in the?
First of all, I say that
Listen
if
to
I died
this.
knowing that I did what
Such
was
a
right
beautiful
or
thing.
did my best to do what was right.
Good for you,
and
bro.
Even if in the history books they said I did wrong,
Good for
I would
you.
still feel okay about that. I care about the
Freaking
reality of goodness, not the perception of it. I think we should view civilization as tenuous, as fragile. If you do study history broadly, you'll see that there's a rise and fall
Yeah.
of civilizations. They don't always go up. So we should do everything we possibly can to preserve and extend civilization as we know it.
Yeah.
And improve it. To become more enlightened over time. And we therefore want to address civilizational risks We want to make sure that we don't have, for example, demographic collapse, which is the case in a lot of countries, just very low growth rate. We want to avoid World War III, anything that is a civilizational risk. That's what I care about, civilizational risks. How do we extend consciousness into the future such that we are able to better understand the nature of reality? Yeah. That's what I care about. That's my motivation.
I know you have to go. If you'll just give me, I'll do a rapid fire thing here. Is there anything that you would change about anything that you've done in your life in the past or recently?
I've made many mistakes over the years. If I had a time machine, I'd go back and fix them, but I don't have a time machine.
Thank you.
But I'm working.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, Don Lemon's such an unattractive human being. He's just a person. Just inside, like you could just tell, pretentious. He's just a prick. Like you wouldn't want to hang out with that guy ever. Who are his friends? Like just a nasty, like that. I think that's what, going back to the point, I think this was all a plan to have this, to make him look like he's this guy, and then go back to CNN where they fired his ass and then get an interview with them. It's all BS propaganda bullshit, which all goes into the goal is to take down X, make him look like they were trying to get him. This prick was trying to make him say something to catch him, like, oh, he's pro-anti-Semitic, he's pro this.
He's a threat to the power and how they want to hold it. He's a threat to that.
Just so Don Lemon, go away.
He's to be attacked. And we started this conversation with Matt Taibbi, and Matt Taibbi used a word, disenfranchise. And I know what he's talking about. And Matt Taibbi is weighing into an argument on a self-interest economic angle. Matt Taibbi has a strong business on Substack newsletter. He's got a subscriber base. Twitter,
and a good amount. It's a good amount.
Yeah. Twitter has a competitor called Notes. And on Twitter, you cannot link out necessarily or embed on Substack newsletters. And there are people that are leaving Substack because Substack doesn't give them the right platform. Glenn Greenwald left Substack, went independent. Grit Newsletter, one of the largest independent financial newsletters, has left Substack. Matt Taibbi is on Substack. When Matt Taibbi says he's disenfranchised us, he hasn't disenfranchised us. If you want to use Notes, you want to use it on Twitter, you can use it there. I can't go get Google Docs and insert it into Microsoft Office. I have to choose one or the other. It's a competitive world. And Matt Taibbi is being very disingenuous there on a self-interested economic level about the underlying competition between Notes, which is on Twitter, and Substack. And that was woven into the story. The real story is that I do not think Don Lemon, I think he had help with those questions, and I think he had a motive.
Yeah, the look at the difference approach. Cuomo interviews Tucker. Okay, Lemon interviews Musk. It's fair to say those two people are not liked by CNN. Okay, yeah. Is that fair to say that,
Very
guys?
fair,
With everybody?
yes.
Okay,
very fair.
Is it even fair to say that maybe Tucker is more hated at CNN than Musk is?
Yes.
I think that's probably because it's a direct competitor.
Yes.
Musk is somebody else, but you hate Tucker because Tucker's a direct competitor. And guess what it was? Great conversation. Phenomenal. Respectful. Afterwards, they both had good things to say about each other. They move on, right? It wasn't let me then go on CNN and say, hey, look at this, right? Now, this is how Chris has reacted so far with everything that's been going on. It's been very consistent on the way he's handled things. Don, the way he interviewed, Elon was just from a standpoint of being and by the way, this is going to sound weird when I say this. It's going to sound very weird when I say this. I actually enjoyed watching the interview.
The Don Lemon.
I actually enjoy watching the interview.
Why?
Because I love to see, this is what America's allergic to, both the right and the left. They're allergic to these types of conversations because both the far right and the far left is allergic to any idea that challenges any of their existing points. They're allergic to it. They don't even want to hear it. They don't even want to get close to it. I want to entertain it. One of my favorite debates I watched was the Hitchens brothers debating. One was an atheist. The other one was a Catholic, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a 3-hour debate. It's a beautiful thing to watch. We are way too much about our echo chambers today. And unfortunately, half the battle why Musk did what he did is probably because of Lemon and the way he handled what he did with his ask. I'm willing to tell you, if the guy took a different approach and he didn't ask for what he asked for, he probably would still have a relationship. But by the way, when people say, on CNN, they said Jim Acosta, not Jim Acosta. What's the other guy's name? Not Jim. There was another guy that said, here's whatever happened to freedom of speech. Elon left the interview up. There is he just doesn't want to pay for this talent.
Of course.
He left the interview up. It's still freedom of speech. He just doesn't want to pay the guy for it. So good for Elon for not doing anything with it. That stayed up. And I actually enjoyed watching the interview. I learned a lot about Lemon and what his motives are, that he is still loyal to CNN.
100%.
Yeah.
But when you say, and Adam, I'm sorry to cut you off. When you say, okay, the left and the right, and we need to get the common ground. But what the left is pushing right now, what from what they're doing can make you guys or any of you say, okay, I could see how they could, with the open border and the lawlessness and nothing that they're doing in my eyes would make the other side go, oh, okay, open border because you guys love humanity. Okay, that's why you're letting them in. No, everything to me that they're doing in front of our face is to destroy the country. Where's the balance in that? I'm saying the right has their own problems as well, but every single thing that the left is doing right now, I don't see how the other side can compromise in their thoughts and say, you know what, Tom? Yeah, okay, I can see why you want 20 million people, illegals, into this country by the end of I just don't see it. I don't see how that side could negotiate with the other side or be understanding. I don't get it.
Listen, if we're going to save this republic that we have, we're only going to do it through conversations. And then from there, the audience being loud and agreeing or disagreeing with whoever it is. Any decision, any opinion that I have, you have the right to do whatever you want to do with it. That doesn't bother me. People think it does anything to me. It does nothing to me. We need to be more in an environment for us to be able to have these types of discussions, and it's happening. Big part of it is because Elon bought Twitter. If Elon doesn't buy Twitter, these types of discussions don't take place. Imagine if Elon doesn't buy Twitter. Where the hell is Tucker Carlson right now?
Nowhere.
Actually, think about it. Elon doesn't buy Twitter. It's coming up 1 year anniversary of Tucker getting fired. If Elon doesn't buy Twitter, where is Tucker's content going?
Valuetainment, hopefully. Another good call. But but you're right. He's not out there.
I'll just say one thing. I fully agree with you, PBD, that we need more conversation. We need more dialogue. We even need more debate. Everything that you're doing here at Valuetainment on PBD, that what we stand for, whether it's Candace and Cuomo, whether it's someone on the far left, on the far right, whether it's an Alex Jones, whether it's whoever. That's what we need more of. Less silos, less tribalism, less echo chambers, less villainizing the other side if they don't agree with you. I thought the Cuomo and Tucker interview was fantastic. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was great. And Cuomo asked him point blank, because Cuomo's like a dude. Tucker's kind of like, look, one of the smartest guys I know. That laugh still makes me very uncomfortable. He asked him point blank, like, why are you talking so much shit about me? You know what Tucker said?
Honestly.
I'm just a dick.
Yeah, well, he's being honest.
Tucker,
yeah.
I'm just a dick.
I'm being real.
Thank God I've got a great wife who tells me to be less of a dick. He goes, I was going to come after you, is what Cuomo said. And he goes, Jeff Zucker told me personally not to attack you. And Tucker was like, yeah, I don't really like that guy. But what was the line you said that you liked from Elon, the moderation line?
Yeah, moderation is a propaganda for censorship.
I agree with that, because we've seen this, we've experienced this before. A lot of people on the right have experienced moderators out there. The one thing I would condone is there's a difference, and they keep trying to get Elon with the hate speech thing. Remember the interview like 6 months ago, and he's like, hate speech is pervasive all over, but name something. He's like, I don't really know, and he got caught. There's a difference between hate speech, inciting violence or calling for the incitement of violence, and actually a hate crime. I firmly believe some of the toughest people in the world are YouTube commenters. They are so freaking tough, and all the beautiful things they say out there.
It's happening right now.
Exactly. All the beautiful things they say, they'll never say anything to your face.
And guess what?
But I will say, I fully condone it. Let people say what they want to say.
I love it.
Sunlight is the greatest transparency.
Yeah. Okay.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party.
Tulsi Gabbard says she is no longer a Democrat.
A potential Tulsi Gabbard VP.
Where we are being told that we just have to comply and go along with whatever they say. American people are smarter than this. However, we must remain vigilant to recognize their propaganda for what it is, pure lie. Unfortunately, we live in a time where free speech is under attack. whatever they say goes, and we have to just follow.
And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Taking on Kamala Harris on a debate stage before, I would look forward to doing that again.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.